I've been thinking about the story and what we could make, what I could make to remind me. And there's two things that struck me, so I'm going to show you how to make two things. Well, when I say show you how to make, I'm going to show you how to make the first one. The second one, I'm not quite sure how to make, but that's okay. We'll find out together. The two things that struck me were, firstly, in that room. When they were in the room, they'd gone back to the room and they were waiting there, and they were scared, probably, didn't know what was going to happen. Jesus had left again, might have felt lonely, and then that whirlwind came and it brought power to them. And I want to remember that when I'm at home, that the Holy Spirit will come and bring power to me. And the second thing I want to do is, it's not just about being at home, it's about going out and talking about Jesus and doing what he wants you to do. And so I want to make something for outside. But first of all, let's make that inside whirlwind. And it's probably something you've made before. And I'll show you. What I'm going to do is, let's get a pen that you could probably see me writing. I've got some card. Now you could use glittery card for this, so it's already decorated on one side. And I like the Holy Spirit a bit glittery, I like that. It's like that flame. But the reason I'm doing it on plain card is because I'm going to write on this as well as decorate it. And I'm going to choose a verse from the Bible, and there's so many I could choose. I want to write both sides. So let's see. I'm going to draw a spiral. Like this. And I'm going to cut that out. So I've just finished cutting that out. And you can see I've got my spiral that I've cut round. So you can see when I hang it up, it's going to hang down like a whirlwind. But I'm going to write on this in a nice coloured pen. And the first thing I'm going to write is from the passage that we're reading this week, the story this week. And it's where Peter got up and he said something from the Old Testament that foretold what was happening. And it was from Acts 2:17, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Now, that's not quite the beginning of Acts 2:17. There's a bit at the beginning. So at the beginning, I'm going to do an ellipse. You know those three little dots that mean dun dun dun, or it also means there's something missing. And then I'm going to write, I will pour out my spirit on all people, and another ellipse because there's a little bit at the end. If you want to find out what the missing bits are, look it up in the Bible. I'm just going to write that now. Hold on. Be with you in a minute. So I've written that round. ... I will pour out my spirit on all people. But look, I've got loads of space. So I'm going to carry on writing the rest of that verse because I think I should. Just got that feeling. I wonder where that's coming from. I'll tell you what the rest of it is in a moment. Do you know, as I was writing that, I could feel the Spirit. The whole verse goes like this. I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Do you know, it's about you, it's about children. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, and Do you know what? This was written a lot. This was even written before Jesus. This was foretelling what would happen. And the fact that daughters are mentioned was a really big deal, because all that time ago, thousands of years ago, women did not have a very big place in society, particularly young women and children, young girls. So your sons and your daughters will prophesy. That means wise words will come into your head. Things will come into your head and you will say them. And I think that's really true. Working with children, working with you, I learned that, and I love it, because you say things that the Holy Spirit tells you, whereas some adults just pops into their head, but they're not always brave enough to say it. But you are. So I think that's very true. Sons and daughters, that you, the children, will prophesy. You will say the things the Holy Spirit puts in your head. So never be afraid to say those things that you feel. Just say them. It's okay if you make a mistake and it wasn't the Holy Spirit. Just say them. So that's really good. On the other side, I'm going to write another verse. I'll tell you about that in a moment. So I've written a second verse on the back, and so my Bible study, I read the Bible every day, and a little thing that gets sent through to me on my phone, and today was the verse we did last week in church, and some words of Jesus really struck me. So they're from Acts 1 verse 8, and this is what Jesus actually said in the Bible. It says, "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you." Receive power. It goes on. "And you will be my witness." I spelt that one wrong, but I just crossed it out and wrote it again. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. "You will be my witness in Jerusalem, all of Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." Now, there's three things I got from this as I was writing it. The Holy Spirit's going to empower me, and do you know, I feel sometimes people say, "How do you know?" Not everybody's the same, but this is just for me. What happens to me? I get a sensation, a feeling up the back of my neck. Comes up the back of my neck. Sometimes in my fingers, I get that feeling, and I just know. And so, and it is empowering to be able to do this. When I was a young person, your age, and I started secondary school, children used to get up in assembly and read out into assembly in front of everybody. And I lived my whole secondary school life in fear of having to be asked to get up to read out to everybody, because I was really scared about getting up in front of people and talking. And you're probably laughing because I'm sitting here talking to a lot of people now. But that's the change the Holy Spirit has brought about in me. Yes, so power, the Holy Spirit empowers us, and it's that we will be witness. And we will be witnessed by not what we sort of go out to do for others necessarily, but witness to talk about what our life and what God has done in our life. And I've just done that with the story of how I found it difficult to talk to people. And I wasn't going to write this bit, I was going to do the ... bit, the ellipse. In Jerusalem, all over Judea and Samaria and the ends of the earth. I was going to put the ends of the earth in. And it was like it was Jerusalem, that's where they were, and then all over Judea, that's getting bigger, and Samaria, and it reminds me of this circle. You know, we start indoors in our house talking about and reading about Jesus, and you talk to the rest of your family, and then your friends, and at school, and the circles get bigger and bigger to the people that we talk to. So this means a lot to me. So yeah, it was definitely the craft I was supposed to do. Thank you, Hannah, for she sent this craft to me on the internet, and I said, yeah, I really like that, and I know why I really liked it now. Now, so once you've done that, I'm going to decorate it, so you can do lots of pictures, stick sparkly things on it. Then when you've done that, I'm going to put a hole in the top with a trusty bit of blue tack. Put that over there. Get something with a sharp point like a pen or a pencil. Push it down, make a hole, and then get some thread that we can hang it up by. Tie a knot. I'll remind you how to tie a knot. You've got two sides. One end goes over the other, goes round through the hole. So the snake's head goes round, tail goes round and through the hole. Head, there you go. And you've got your hanger to hang up and remind you about the power of the Holy Spirit. Now, the next thing I'm going to make, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, but do you know, this is more my thing. Not making a craft that I've been shown and just repeating it, but just having a play with some stuff and see what comes out. What I would like, what I've been inspired by, is that crow scarer. I think I called it a scarecrower because I got my words kerfuddled. I do that sometimes. That's the dyslexia, but it's okay. It's good. And flying in the air outside, and it struck me as reminded me of the Spirit, and it was useful because I think the Holy Spirit is very useful in you. It does good things if you listen to it. Nudges you to do good things. So I've just got, now I've got some plastic bags, some red and yellow ones that I found, but that's quite heavy plastic, although it's the right sort of colours for a flamey, fiery thing, I thought. So I'm going to try and do something with that. I've also got a very light plastic bag that I'm going to cut down to make bigger. So cut that down that side and down that side. Ooh. So, but this isn't the right colour, so I'm going to think about what I'm going to do with that. I might paint it actually and let it dry. Probably with acrylic paints. I'll see how that goes. I've got some straws. We've only got paper straws, but they're coated with something. I'm conscious that this is going to be outside, so it really needs to be waterproof, which is why I'm using plastic rather than tissue paper. So I've got some straws, paper straws, but they're coated with something to keep them waterproof. And I've got some sticks, glue, and I've got some very fine thread. You can't see it, but you can hear it, see it on the roll. It's fishing line, so that's very light and you could hardly see it. So I'm going to have a little play around and show you what I've done in a moment. I might keep clipping back to bits as I do them. So the first thing I'm going to clip back to is this. I'm going to paint this piece of flimsy plastic. Now I've got some acrylic paint in the colours, and I'm just going to, I've got newspaper to protect the table, I'm just going to squidge it onto the plastic. Just got normal white poster paint as well. Squidge a bit of that on, and you can see I've just, let's see if I can hold that up a bit, just squidged on some of the paints, and then I'm just going to, I've got some water there in a pot, but I'm just going to spread this about a bit, see how it mixes in together. to get that sort of like a flame. So I'm just going to paint this around and cover it all until it looks like, right, when you're painting, it's knowing when to stop sometimes. So, well, I've done the white, I've mixed it's gone a bit pink, so I might not have used white actually next time. But I'm just going to leave that to dry, and while that's drying I'm going to see what I can do with this other plastic. So I'm going to make two, I think, a bit of an experiment, see which one works best. Right, I'll show you what happens next in a moment. So I'm cutting down the bag, first bag, to open it out, and I was going to cut the handles off, but I think I might keep one handle on for a little while because it might be a good tether point. I'll cut the other handle off, and I'm just going to cut the other bag down now and cut it into shape that I might want it to be. It's going to look like this. Ta-da, this shape. Just got, it's got, what I've done is I've cut it with a round. This is my handle, and I've got all the cut sort of flamey, strappy bits. And I'm just sticking on the last piece of yellow. There we go, conveniently over the logo of the bag. But I've not stuck it all down, I've let some of these little bits flapping up. Now, I'm conscious, see, this is design, this is DT, design and technology, really. So I've thought about my material. You have to solve problems when you're designing things. Problem is, it's going to be outside, it could get rained on, hopefully. So it needs to be waterproof. It needs to fly in the wind, so it needs to be light. I'm not sure whether this plastic is too heavy. And the other thing is, it needs to get the air to it, and it could close up very easily. So I need to keep it open. So I think I'm going to use these sticks for this, and in the shape of a cross. So I'm going to build some sort of structure on here to keep this top bit open and to the air, like this. I haven't used the sticks at all, have I? I'm going to save these sticks for the one I've painted, because I've only got two of these, and it wasn't big enough to hold this open. So what I'm going to do is I'm making this, I'm using the straws, and I'm going to stick them on, hold on, let's get the sellotape in here, with some sellotape. So I'm going to stick these down. I mean, you could put, what could do, you could roll it over. That might be a good thing to cover the straws up, make them a bit more waterproof. Or I could just cover the straws up with tape. Let's have a play around and see how this goes. Right, I'll show you when I've finished. Right, as you can see, I've decided to put some straws across the middle, or else it was going to just fold like this across down these bits. So made two triangles. Triangles are a very strong shape for construction. So I think now, I'm going to hold that open, I'm ready to go and tie this with some of my fishing line on the top of a very tall stick in the garden. I'll show you in a minute. Right, well, I've tied it up a tree actually, but it doesn't seem to be doing much. I might make those bits at the bottom a bit thinner. I'm going to cut them up with some scissors, and I might move it to the edge of that gutter actually. But it's these raspberries I wanted to protect from the birds. I wanted to scare the birds off from them. I'll have a fiddle. Yeah, I've changed location and I've cut the fringe bits a bit thinner. And that seems to be working much better. Right, let's go and see what if the other experimentation sheet has dried yet. Let's see what we can make with that. So let's get on with this one. It's dried now. I've had a thought. I didn't know whether the paint might wash off in the rain. So when you put it somewhere where if there's a little bit of paint drip down, doesn't matter. So if it drips onto the earth, that's okay. But if it dripped onto some paving slabs, that might, Mum and Dad might not be very happy about that, but it might be all right. Anyway, so I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to put a structure on it like this. Before I finish, I'm just, I'll cut it out to shape. I'll show you the shape in a minute, but I'm just making this cross structure for the middle, and I'm going to tie the cross together with this line first, just to make it a bit stronger rather than just sticking it down like this. So I'm tying the fishing line around the middle, go around and really firming it, going crisscross that way and then crisscross this way to make it strong. And then I'm going to have a long length tied off on the middle. That's going to be my fixing point. So in the middle of this cross, like this. You could actually, it's like a kite. What we're making is a kite. So if you wanted to make this longer, you could try and go and fly this out in the field. It doesn't have to be a scarecrow. And now I'm just going to stick this down with some sellotape. Down here, all the way down here. Not much sellotape because the sellotape's quite heavy. Almost ready to go. Well, I'm ready to go. So there's my shape, a bit like an octopus. Pentecost octopus. And I've got my thread on it. I'm going to go and tie this up now, see how it flies. Come with me. That is working a little bit. Well, it was a moment ago. I think the wood's weighing it down, so I think the straws, I'm going to try straws on it instead. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, I'm going to try it with, there it goes, it's lifting up. But I'm going to try it with straws. Oh, there it goes. Oh, maybe not. Well, let's just try it with straws as well. I think that would be even better, lighter. So I'm quite excited. When I've unstuck the sticks, the paint came off with it. Look what I've got. That's lovely. But also what is left on here, isn't that fantastic? Look, it's left the shape of the cross. So, and I've had another brilliant idea. I'm going to use straws. So I'm going to use a cross thing like this, make a cross thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the thread and I'm going to put it through the cross member of the, oh, trickily, you can't see this. I'll show you when I've done it. I'm going to put it through this, so when I stick it down, I'll have two cords. That would make a really good kite structure. I'll show you, like this. Well, that wasn't easy, threading that through the straw. I've got the, it looks like magic, doesn't it? I've got a thread on this. So I've threaded it through the straw, which was not easy, persevere. And then I'm going to tie it up as a knot here, not tie, I'm going to tie it as a knot in the air. Want to do that knot there. So, and then I'm going to have a long thread on this to tie it to the tree. And then this is the piece I'm going to stick down. And actually, I'm not going to do a cross, I don't think. I've got the cross shape on there already. I'm just going to stick this cross beam down and see how that works, because I think that will work. Let's see. Well, yeah, it's got its cross beam on now. I'll show you in a moment, but they're both flying away there. Oh, there we go. I'll show you what I've done with this one. Hold on. I've made it, put the vertical beam in. And it really is not a very windy day today. So, you might want to, other materials you can use, maybe cling film. But remember, it needs to be waterproof, light, and think about a strong structure that's going to open it up. You can maybe use them as kites as well. Anyway, enjoy. May the spirit be with you.